The bustling city Grand Mall was packed with weekend shoppers, neon lights reflecting off the polished floors, and the scent of fresh popcorn and caramel wafting through the air. Families laughed, couples strolled hand in hand, and kids dragged their parents toward toy stores, their eyes gleaming with excitement. Among them was little Liam, a curious 6-year-old with curly brown hair and a love for adventure. He wore a red hoodie with a tiny dinosaur print on the front, his favorite piece of clothing. His mother, Rachel, held his small hand firmly while balancing shopping bags on her other arm. His father, Daniel, walked beside them, checking his phone every now and then. Liam was excited. It wasn't every day he got to visit the biggest mall in town. His mind buzzed with the possibility of ice cream, a new toy, and maybe even an arcade game. But just as they passed the giant Christmas display in the middle of the mall, something caught Liam's eye. A balloon vendor selling colorful helium balloons. One particular balloon, a bright yellow one with a smiling sun drawn on it, floated higher than the others. It reminded him of the cartoon he watched every morning. His little heart leaped. He needed that balloon. His fingers slipped from his mother's grasp. "I want that one," Liam shouted, darting toward the vendor. Rachel, distracted by her shopping list, didn't notice immediately. The crowd was thick, and the sound of chatter, music, and rolling shopping carts swallowed his tiny voice. By the time she turned her head, Liam was gone. Alone in a sea of strangers, Liam's tiny legs carried him through the throng of people. He reached the balloon stand, but just as he arrived, a gust of wind sent the yellow balloon floating up to the ceiling. His heart sank. He looked around, expecting to see his mother standing nearby. But she wasn't there. Instead, he saw unfamiliar faces, people rushing past him lost in their own worlds. His chest tightened. Where was his mommy? Where was his daddy? Liam spun in circles, his breathing quick and shallow. The mall felt bigger, louder, scarier than before. Bright store signs, mannequins behind glass windows, and escalators moving up and down. It all blended into a dizzying blur. He started walking, then jogging, then running. "Mommy? Daddy?" he called, his voice trembling. No response. Tears welled up in his eyes as panic took hold of his tiny body. His heart pounded so loudly that it drowned out the festive mall music playing overhead. The people around him were moving too fast. No one seemed to notice the little lost boy in the red hoodie. A world too big for a small boy. Liam found himself in front of a toy store, its giant window displaying action figures, dolls, and remote-controlled cars. For a split second, hope flickered in his chest. Maybe Mommy and Daddy had come inside. He stepped in. The store smelled like new plastic and excitement. But the moment he looked around, the hope faded. There were kids, but none of them were him. Parents, but none of them were his. A lump formed in his throat. Then, something even scarier happened. A security guard stepped inside, speaking into his radio. Liam's heart froze. He had seen TV shows where lost kids got taken away by strangers. What if this man in uniform was here to take him somewhere scary? Before the guard could notice him, Liam bolted out of the store and into the crowd again. The first tear falls. By now, his little legs felt heavy and his cheeks were hot with tears. He wiped his face with his sleeve, hiccuping between sobs. His tummy rumbled. He felt tired, scared, and all alone. Then through the blur of people, something caught his eye. A gigantic man, wearing a hoodie, sunglasses, and sneakers the size of Liam's entire backpack, was standing near the food court. His arms were crossed, and his head tilted slightly, as if he were watching everything, like a superhero surveying the city. Liam didn't know why, but something about this man felt safe. Or maybe it was the fact that he looked familiar. Wait, wasn't this the funny guy from the internet? The one who said, "Man's not hot." Liam blinked through his tears. His tiny feet shuffled closer. Liam stood frozen, his tiny hands clenched into fists. His cheeks were stained with dry tears, and his breath came in short, panicked gasps. The mall, once a place of excitement and wonder, now felt like a giant maze filled with towering strangers who didn't even notice him. But then, there was him, the big man near the food court. Liam recognized his face from the internet, from the funny videos his older cousin always watched. He wasn't just a big guy. He was Big Shaq, the man who wore jackets in the summer, who rapped about how man's not hot, who made people laugh even when they were sad. Liam didn't know why, but in that moment, he felt drawn to him. Maybe because he looked familiar. Maybe because he was so tall and strong, like a superhero. Or maybe, just maybe, because he was the only person who wasn't rushing past him. With hesitant steps, Liam moved closer, his small feet making soft, almost silent taps on the polished mall floor. Big Shaq was standing near a smoothie stand, sipping a drink through a thick straw. He was dressed casually, baggy hoodie, oversized sneakers, and sunglasses perched on his nose. He looked chill, like nothing in the world could bother him, but the moment he noticed the tiny, red-hoodied figure standing near him, his eyebrows lifted. Liam sniffled, his big eyes looking up at him. Big Shaq lowered his sunglasses slightly, peering down. "Oi, Wagwan, little man, you good?" His deep voice rumbled, a mix of humor and curiosity. Liam bit his lip. He wanted to speak, but the words stuck in his throat. Instead, his bottom lip trembled. Big Shaq looked around, as if scanning the crowd. "Where's your parents, Prove?" he asked, lowering himself to Liam's eye level. His voice, though still laced with his signature playful tone, had softened. Liam opened his mouth, but only a shaky breath came out. He wiped his eyes with the sleeve of his hoodie. "Lost in it?" Big Shaq guessed, his head tilting slightly. Liam gave the tiniest nod. Big Shaq sighed dramatically, taking a loud sip of his smoothie. "Ah, mate, that's peak, you know. Very peak," he muttered, shaking his head. Then after a pause, he grinned. "Lucky for you, Big Shaq's on duty." Liam blinked. "On duty?" Big Shaq straightened up and crossed his arms. "All right, listen up, yeah? We're gonna find your fam, no stress. Man's got this. You ever seen Batman?" Liam hesitated, then nodded. "Safe. Just like Batman, I'ma use detective skills," Big Shaq said, tapping his temple. "First things first, where'd you last see your mom and dad?" Liam sniffled again. By the big Christmas tree," he whispered. Big Shaq stroked his chin, as if this were a serious mission. "Aight, big Christmas tree. Noted." He looked down at Liam again. "You eat today, fam?" Liam shook his head. His tummy rumbled right on cue. Big Shaq's eyes widened. Nah. Can't have my little guy out here starving. We gotta fuel up before our mission," he declared. Without waiting for an answer, he turned toward the smoothie stand. "Oi, bossman," he called to the worker. "Little man's hungry. What we got?" The worker, a skinny teenager who looked half asleep, blinked at him. "Occur. Smoothies?" Big Shaq clicked his tongue. "Nah, we need proper sustenance." "You got chicken wraps?" The worker nodded slowly. "Safe. Give us 2, Big Shaq ordered. He reached into his hoodie pocket and pulled out a wad of cash. Liam's eyes widened. Moments later, Liam was holding a warm chicken wrap, his fingers barely able to grip it. Big Shaq took a massive bite of his own, chewing with exaggerated effort. "Energy, fam," he said, mouth full. "Man's gotta stay fueled for detective work." For the first time since getting lost, Liam smiled. Just a little. The search begins. With food in their bellies, the mission officially began. Big Shaq walked with confidence, Liam's tiny hand tucked into his giant one. They weaved through the mall, heading toward the giant Christmas tree where Liam had last seen his parents. Along the way, Big Shaq kept things light. "So tell me, little man, you got a favorite superhero?" he asked. Liam hesitated. "Spider-Man." Big Shaq nodded approvingly. "Good choice. Man's got webs. But you know who's really powerful?" Liam shook his head. "Me." Big Shaq pointed at himself. "Fastest rapper alive. Man spit bars so quick, criminals get caught in the heat." Liam giggled. It was a small moment, but for the first time, he didn't feel so scared anymore. An unexpected problem. As they approached the Christmas tree, something unexpected happened. A security officer spotted them. His sharp eyes landed on Liam. He turned, speaking into his radio. "Control, I think we've got a missing child here. Little boy, red hoodie, brown curly hair." The officer mumbled. Liam's fingers tightened around Big Shaq's hand. His heart pounded. He still didn't fully understand how these things worked. What if security took him somewhere far away? What if they locked him in a room while searching? Big Shaq noticed the panic on Liam's face. The officer started walking toward them. "Oi, bossman," Big Shaq greeted casually, lifting a hand. "All good, yeah?" The officer gave him a nod, but kept his eyes on Liam. "Hey, kiddo, are you lost?" Liam froze. Big Shaq immediately stepped in front of him, blocking most of Liam from view. Relax, relax. We handling it, my guy. I got him, no stress. Mission's in progress." The officer frowned. "Sir, we have protocols for this." Big Shaq scoffed. Nah, trust me, man. Man's working a different protocol, you get me? Operation Find the Fam. Almost complete." The officer sighed, reaching for his radio again. Liam's chest tightened. Would they take him away? Would he lose Big Shaq too? Little did he know, the real miracle was just around the corner. The tension in the air was thick. Liam could feel his heartbeat pounding in his chest as the security officer reached for his radio. "This is Control. I have a lost child near the Christmas tree." The officer spoke into the device. "We need to—" Before he could finish, Big Shaq clapped his hands together loudly. "Aight, listen, he said, stepping forward, his voice commanding yet playful. "Man's got a plan, yeah? No need for all that radio business. Trust me, my guy. Operation Find the Fam is already active." The officer arched an eyebrow, unimpressed. "Sir, I understand you're trying to help, but we have a procedure for missing children. We need to take the boy to—" Relax, man's not abducting the youth. You feel me?" Big Shaq interrupted, throwing an arm around Liam's tiny shoulders protectively. "We've been on a proper investigation, yeah? Already got clues. Already got leads. My little guy here said his mom and dad were last seen by this very tree." Liam gulped and nodded quickly. The officer sighed. "All right. If that's the case, then we'll wait here while we put out an announcement." Big Shaq smirked. "No need, boss man. I got a better idea." The officer frowned. "And what's that?" Big Shaq took a deep breath, then suddenly cupped his hands around his mouth and yelled loud enough to shake the Christmas ornaments. Yo, lost child alert. Anyone missing a little man in a red hoodie? Come collect your youthie. Heads turned. People stopped in their tracks, startled. Some parents clutched their kids' hands a little tighter. A group of teenagers filming a TikTok nearby started laughing. The officer face-palmed. Sir, you can't just yell in the middle of the mall like... Fam, I just did. Big Shaq grinned, pointing at himself. Liam couldn't help but giggle. And that's when it happened. A mother's cry. A sharp, panicked voice cut through the noise. Liam! Liam, baby! Liam's head snapped up. His mom, a woman in a green winter coat, was pushing through the crowd. Her face a mix of relief and desperation. Her eyes were red from crying, her breath coming out in quick, frantic gasps. Mommy! Liam's voice cracked as he broke into a sprint. She collapsed to her knees, arms wide open. Liam launched himself into her embrace, burying his face in her shoulder. She clutched him tightly, rocking back and forth. Oh, my baby. I thought I lost you forever, she sobbed, pressing kisses to his curly hair. Big Shaq folded his arms, nodding proudly. Mission success, you get me? The crowd broke into applause, and even the security officer looked mildly impressed. But before anyone could say anything else, Liam! A deep voice boomed from behind them. Liam turned just in time to see his dad running toward them, his face etched with pure terror. A father's gratitude. His father, a tall man with glasses and a thick winter coat, dropped to his knees beside them, pulling both Liam and his mother into his arms. I looked everywhere for you, he gasped, his voice cracking. Oh God, I thought something terrible happened. I got lost, Liam sniffled. I didn't mean to, Daddy. Shh, it's okay, his father whispered, squeezing him even tighter. You're safe. That's all that matters. For a moment, nothing else existed except their family's embrace. But then, his dad noticed Big Shaq standing a few feet away, watching the reunion with a satisfied nod. You? His father blinked, realization dawning on him. You're the one who found him? Big Shaq smirked. Nah, big man, he found me. Kids got instincts. Real smart. Liam's dad stood up and, without hesitation, pulled Big Shaq into a bear hug. The crowd gasped. Even Big Shaq looked momentarily caught off guard. Bruv, man ain't used to all this hugging business, he mumbled, patting the dad on the back awkwardly. Man's usually more of a dap-up kind of guy. Liam's dad pulled back, gripping Big Shaq's shoulders firmly. I don't even know how to thank you. You brought my son back to me. That means everything. Big Shaq grinned. It's light work, my guy. Man's not just hot, man's also heroic. Liam giggled again. A Christmas surprise. As the moment settled, Liam's mom wiped her eyes and turned toward Big Shaq. We want to do something for you, she said, her voice still shaky. Please let us... Nah, Big Shaq shook his head. Mans don't do this for rewards, you get me? Just helping out the youth. Kids are important, but... He turned to Liam, crouching down to his eye level again. You all right now, lil man? Liam nodded. You safe? Another nod. I'd good, Big Shaq said, tapping Liam's tiny fist with his own massive one. Now go on. Enjoy your Christmas, Lil G. Liam beamed. The crowd began to disperse, people whispering about how amazing the moment was. Some even took pictures. And then, just as Big Shaq was about to turn and leave, Liam ran after him. Wait, Big Shaq stopped, looking over his shoulder. Liam hesitated, then threw his little arms around Big Shaq's leg, hugging him tight. Big Shaq froze. The crowd awed, After a moment, Big Shaq chuckled and ruffled Liam's curls. Aight, all right, lil man. Safe journey, yeah? Liam grinned up at him. You're like a superhero, Big Shaq smirked. Nah, man's better than a superhero. You know why? Liam shook his head. Big Shaq leaned in and whispered, 'Cause man's never gets hot. Liam burst into laughter, and with that, Big Shaq gave him a salute and disappeared into the crowd, leaving behind a Christmas miracle that no one in that mall would ever forget. The mall buzzed with the usual holiday chaos. People rushing to buy last-minute gifts, the ringing of cash registers, the muffled conversations of families gathering to eat at the food court. But amidst all the noise, something unspoken lingered, a quiet sense of gratitude that hung in the air, thick and powerful. Liam's parents, still holding each other tightly, stood at the Christmas tree, watching their son laugh and play with a new toy. His giggles rang out through the crowd, an unmistakable sound of relief and joy. But something had changed. The mall had witnessed a miracle that afternoon. The meeting of a lost child and a larger-than-life figure had sparked a moment of kindness. And now, that moment had left an indelible mark on everyone who witnessed it. Even the security officer, who had been skeptical at first, was now standing in awe. The power of kindness. A group of young girls approached the family, each holding their smartphones, and one of them spoke up shyly. Hey, sorry to interrupt, but we just wanted to say thank you. Liam's mom blinked in confusion. Thank you? For what, sweetheart? One of the girls raised her phone. We were filming earlier, and we saw how Big Shaq helped find your son. We were in the crowd and, well, you don't see that kind of thing every day. The other girls nodded enthusiastically. It was like a real-life miracle, you know? Liam's mom smiled softly, brushing away a tear that had formed. I don't know what we would have done without him. Just then, a man from across the hall approached. He was wearing a suit, holding a camera, and wearing a professional smile. Excuse me, I'm a reporter for Global News. I couldn't help but overhear. We'd love to feature this story. It's heartwarming and inspirational. Would you be open to an interview? Liam's dad stepped forward, his expression protective yet thoughtful. We're grateful for the help, but we're just trying to get our son home now. The reporter nodded understandingly. Of course. I just wanted to let you know how impactful this moment has been. It's a rare thing to see someone step in like that, especially in such a public place. It shows that kindness still exists, even in the most chaotic places. Liam's mom looked at her husband, then back at the reporter. She paused for a moment before speaking. You know, you're right. It's easy to forget how important it is to help others when we get caught up in our own lives. But that moment, the one where Big Shaq stepped in and helped, it reminded us that we're all connected. Exactly, the reporter said, and we're going to make sure the world knows about it. This kind of thing needs to be shared. Liam's mom smiled at him. Go ahead. Let others see how kindness can make a difference. As the reporter moved off to prepare, Liam's dad looked at his wife, then at their son, still engrossed in his new toy. The social media storm within minutes. The story spread like wildfire. The video of Big Shaq calling out for Liam's parents, followed by the joyous reunion, was shared across social media. The hashtag number, Big Shaq the Hero, started trending, with people from all over the world commenting, sharing, and creating their own versions of the story. In a world where negative headlines often dominate the news cycle, The heartwarming video brought something different. People were captivated by the moment. From celebrities to everyday folks, everyone was talking about the miracle that had unfolded in that mall. Even Big Shaq himself tweeted about it, writing, "Sometimes the real MVPs are the ones who make the smallest difference." Today, I was lucky enough to be part of something special. Big Shaq, the hero kid, found. The tweets were flooded with messages of admiration, not just for Big Shaq, but for everyone who had stepped in to make the moment happen. People were reminded that in this often disconnected world, there were still moments of genuine connection and compassion. But while the internet buzzed with excitement, another ripple of the story was unfolding, one that would take the family and Big Shaq to an unexpected destination. The invitation. 2 days after the incident, Liam's family was back at home, enjoying a quiet evening together. Liam was tucked in bed, having already told his parents all about his new hero, Big Shaq. They were about to settle down for the night when the phone rang. Liam's dad picked it up. "Hello? Mr. Hamilton?" a voice on the other end said. "This is Sarah from Good Morning Live. I'm calling to see if you and your family would be interested in joining us for a live segment. We'd love to have you share the story of what happened at the mall, and we have a special surprise for you." Liam's dad blinked in confusion. "A live segment? What do you mean?" "We've been following the story, and we think it's incredible. People have been talking about it all over the world. We want to give you and your family the opportunity to speak with us live on TV and thank Big Shaq for his heroic actions. We have an exclusive invitation for you all to come to our studio this week. What do you think?" The father exchanged a quick glance with his wife. They both felt the weight of the situation. "We'd be honored," Liam's dad finally said. "When do you need us there?" A special surprise. The following day, the family found themselves standing outside the Good Morning Live studio, nervous but excited. The crew welcomed them with open arms, making them feel at home. After a brief interview about the events at the mall, the host turned to them with a wide smile. "And now, we have a very special guest. Please welcome Big Shaq." The doors swung open, and Big Shaq strolled in, wearing his signature grin. He waved at the family, who stood up to greet him. Yo, what's good, my people?" Big Shaq boomed, pulling Liam into a playful hug. "You're all looking good, I see. So how's everyone feeling? Feeling blessed?" Liam giggled and nodded. "I'm feeling like a superhero now." Big Shaq laughed heartily, causing the audience to erupt in cheers. The host smiled. "Well, Big Shaq, we have a special surprise for you and for the Hamilton family. You may have already heard about it, but we've been working with some special partners to make sure your Christmas season is even better than you expected." Liam's mom looked at the host in surprise. "What do you mean?" "Well, we know how important it is to have a family Christmas. And we also know that helping people is at the heart of what makes Big Shaq so special," the host said. "So thanks to our partners, we're happy to announce that the Hamilton family is going to get a free trip to a luxury resort for a Christmas vacation." Liam's parents stood frozen for a moment, then broke into joyful laughter. "Are you serious?" Big Shaq grinned. "Man's just spreading the love, you get me? Now go on, enjoy yourself." The audience cheered, and the Hamilton family couldn't believe what was happening. They were going to get a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make up for all the lost moments and create new, beautiful memories together. The true miracle. As the show concluded, Big Shaq took one last moment to address the audience. I don't do this for fame. I don't do this for the clout. I do this because we're all in this together, helping each other, spreading kindness. That's what it's all about. Remember, it doesn't matter how big or small the act is. Every moment counts. Be the change you want to see. And trust me, the world will thank you. With that, Big Shaq gave a wink to Liam and his family, and they all left the stage, their hearts full and their spirits lifted. As they exited the building, Liam turned to his parents and said, I want to be just like him when I grow up. Liam's dad chuckled. Well, kiddo, you're already on the right path. And as they walked into their new future, they knew that their story would continue to inspire others to believe in the power of kindness, compassion, and miracles.